Hi everyone, good afternoon. So today we have with us Mike Lee from Trainium Academy. So Mike Lee is definitely not a hairdresser, and he's the first guest on our platform that's a non-hairdresser, as some of our regular audience are familiar with the kind of interviews and stuff. We talk to hairdressers. So the reason why we have Mike Lee on board today is because he is a branding expert, personal branding generally, right, and business. Yep. So he's going to share with us today the importance of personal branding.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you, in bullet form, give us a short introduction about yourself?
So for me, my career history is not, I didn't start with personal branding. I started my career in the military. So I was in government service for close to 10 years.
Right.
And it was 9 years plus before I decided that I needed to get out and do something more. Right? Not that I didn't like my government job. In fact, my last job, I loved it a lot because I was helping people, making real impact in people's lives. Right. I was a career coach with the government. So I was helping people who are unemployed to look for jobs. So one of the things that I discovered after I transited out of the military to become a career coach with the government was also the power of personal branding, because that was something that I didn't do back then when I was in the military, because everything is very closed, because we can't talk a lot about what are the things that we do.
Right. So there's a lot of red tapes in a corporate setting, kind of.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
And I didn't know the concept of branding. Right? Okay. If you were to tell me branding, I knew nothing about it. And it was only in the past 2 years or so when I started to coach people who are unemployed, and then I realized that this is how branding can even help somebody to, let's say, get a pay raise. They can even attract the jobs that they want. Right? And it's the same, and I realized it even further when I started my own business. I joined my partner, and that is how personal branding has helped our business. That up until now, so far, the business has been running for 4 years plus. Right? I've joined for 1.5 years, close to 2 years.
Right.
We have not spent a single cent on marketing.
Wow.
Most of our business is through branding. But that's not to say that marketing is not important. Right? Marketing will help us to allow us to reach out to even more people.
Okay, so I want to narrow down the conversation to like my audience, which are mostly hair salon owners and hairstylists. So as you've seen, there are a lot of like chain hair salons and the so-called upmarket branded hair salons. So these brands, they sort of get it, in my opinion, right? So like, you know, for example, like when you think about, for you, like someone who is not in the hairdressing industry, like if somebody were to say, oh, I need a haircut, immediately a few names will pop into your head. So that is sort of like the power of branding, right?
Correct.
But also when I talk to my colleagues in the industry, when we are like independent, freelance, or when we are like kind of like operating a smaller size hair salon, the concept of branding for them is like, I have a name, and it pretty much stopped at there. And even with some, they understand the importance of branding and stuff like that. They feel that the whole thing is like, oh, I don't have the kind of budget, you know. So usually that is one thing that is stopping them, right? And the last time when I speak to you, you know, we sort of both agree that personal branding has not a lot to do with spending money.
Correct.
Right. So can you share a little bit more? So let me give you a scenario. Okay, let's first touch on the small salon owner. Okay, so let's talk about business branding.
Yes.
What advice can you give us?
Okay. The key thing is a lot of people like to see things as separate. Right? The dilemma in most business owners is, should I brand myself or should I brand my business?
Both.
Right? But that's what people don't get. It's like asking, like somebody asking you, should I take the $50 on the floor or the $100 on the floor? Right? You have to do both. Right? However, there is certain priority that you have to make, and that is dependent on what is the outcome you would like to achieve. Right? A lot of people don't think about the outcome, and that outcome has to be very clear. And what happens is that most people, they do not have the right kind of outcome because they feel that their branding efforts should directly lead to revenue.
Right.
But things don't work that way.
Yeah, so that's why we have the marketing department, right? I mean, marketing and branding are two words that tie in very closely. Correct. It's like a mother and child, inseparable. Correct. But they do serve their different utilities in terms of branding for a business or even personal, right? Okay, so can you elaborate also a little bit more on that? So for example, like if I don't have any branding effort, can you give us like maybe 3 tips that to get started, the most fundamental, you know, if I don't want to spend the money and have very little knowledge about how to get started, and like, you know, so that it does, this whole branding word doesn't seems like untouchable and scary. Thank you.
Yeah. So 3 things. Firstly, we have to identify within ourselves what is the outcome that we want to achieve from this branding effort, because that will drive your direction. If you don't have a direction, you're just going, you know, you can be doing a lot of branding efforts. You'll feel like you keep running, but you're getting nowhere.
Like running on the treadmill.
Yes, it gets you, you know, you over time you start to, let's say, do better branding. Let's say if you do copywriting, you have better copywriting skills. But at the same time, people don't know what is the message that you're sending. Right? Maybe one day you are talking about certain things and then something else that is unrelated, not so related, people can't see the link. Right? And nowadays, the biggest commodity is attention.
Of course.
If you don't have the attention of your targeted audience, nobody will even get to know you.
Right.
So you have to get their attention. So the first thing that most people have to figure out is what is the outcome.
Okay.
Right?
So have an end goal.
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's the first one.
Knowing what is the end goal, you will know how to get there.
I see.
Right?
Okay, that
because
seems
a lot of people
pretty
don't even
straightforward.
know what is the end goal.
Okay.
Right? So then we have to ask ourselves, right? Where are our target audience at? Right? What are they doing most of the time? Where can we get that precious commodity attention?
Online.
Right? Online. Right? Everybody, I mean, most people, majority of our target audiences are online now. Even the older folks are also online.
Yeah.
Right? They are
The cutoff is probably, I don't know, 70 years old.
I've seen 70 years old. They have added me on Facebook before. So
okay.
They are on Facebook as well. You can just look at the behaviors of those people around you.
Okay, can I interrupt a little bit? Speaking of targeted audience, right?
Yes.
Because now as we're talking about age, online, that is like literally anyone from 18 years old to 78 years old. So another conversation which you often hear is also about identifying your targeted audience.
Yes.
Right? So I'm not going to target at 18 years old to 70 years old.
Definitely.
Right? So how do we actually do the narrowing down? Are there any like sort of simple step-by-step to sort of like, so I understand that also again tie into your expertise, which is branding.
Yes. So the key question you have to ask yourself, right? It's not exactly who I want to serve. Right? When you ask that, it becomes a bit.
It's a big question, right?
It's a big question. It's very vague. Right? So we have to dig deeper. Right? Who is probably just on the surface? It's like an iceberg. Right? You want to go deeper. The deeper on the iceberg you go, you know, it will give you a better direction and gives you a lot more what I call emotional resonance when you talk to these people.
I see. So one example is like just so that the audience can a context for hairdressing, for example, right? So when I am working on my personal branding and my business branding, I told myself, what is the kind of work that get me most excited? Because I have to feel emotionally attached and passionate about my craft. And I realized, what is most important for me is giving a client the kind of hairstyle that is minimal maintenance, is presentable, and is something that can be their signature look, right? Yes. So that is my targeted audience. So because I already have this list of things that get me excited, it has very little to do with their age. Yes. Right? So anybody who want an effortless, presentable, easy to maintain hairstyle, you are my targeted audience. Yes. Is that a good example?
That is one. That is one good example. One tip that I always share, right, is this one question that we should be asking. And it's not just on branding, it is on business, in career, anything in our lives. This one question is, what is the impact that we want to make in this world?
That is a very big question.
It is. But if we start to break it down, then you will find who is your target audience. Right? Let's say your impact is to help mothers look good, for example.
Right.
You become, because you yourself, you feel like maybe you're a mother, you're staying at home, you're taking care of your kids for a long time, you have not been out for a long time, and you start to feel like, I need to feel alive again. Right? And I'll start with my image.
Many mothers can resonate.
Right? So that is how you can. So depending on which stage you are, right? Some people may say that, I don't want to target those stay-at-home mothers. Maybe it's someone like a hairdresser who decided to take a leap of faith, right? Maybe they were in corporate, but they got so burnt out, they got so stressed out, they decided, I just want to pursue something else, and I think hairdressing is one of them. Right?
Okay.
And what I want to do is to help corporate executives to be more confident, increase their executive presence, right, through their image. And that is their target audience, right? Just by defining what is the impact that they want to make.
Okay.
Right? With their businesses, themselves, what is that impact they want to make?
Okay, and the third one?
The third one is also what I would call, you have the online, that's what we know, having to be visible online. The other one is also having to be offline. A lot of people
forget about
dread the idea of going offline, or they say that nobody's offline anymore.
That's not true. There are people walking on the street.
Exactly. It's totally different from online. When you bring a connection from online to offline, the trust level goes up. People start to see. And that is why videos become very popular nowadays. Because it's very personable, people start to see. You're not just hiding behind words that you type. Because anybody can type anything. You can hire someone to type anything. But you, right now at this point of time, although there's AI, most of us are still, when we do a video, it is a real video. You see the real person. Right? And that builds the trust. That builds the trust for people to want to meet you offline. It's, in my industry, in the speaking industry, one of the things that they look at is they want to see you on the video first before they hire you as a speaker.
Of course.
Right? It's the same thing. When you want to meet someone, you want to see how this person behaves. Right? How is he on camera?
Right. So instead of again bringing back to my industry, instead of posting a client before and after picture, maybe we can post a video about the whole consultation process, how I was actually cutting the hair, and then something like that.
That can be one of the options.
Right.
However, the other thing that you would like to do more of is also to reach out to your online audience and see how you can bring them offline. Right? There can be certain strategies which I believe some of the salons may be doing right now, like they run certain campaigns where or giveaways, right? Where people participate online, but get them to come to your salon to redeem that, let's say,
services and stuff like that.
Yes, and then make them post about it, and that is when things go offline. Right. And when this person experiences your service, that is, that service could be free. Right? Some people are very afraid. I give free, I'm wasting away my time.
Yeah. So just touching on this free thing and online offline, right? I think there's already so much to unpack.
Yes.
Right. So I know marketing is not your thing, but because marketing and branding ties so tightly together, it's almost impossible to not touch on marketing at all. So one thing I always share with my sort of like my team and like other business owners is marketing is a double-edged sword, right? So once we put a message out there like, hey, come and experience, for example, this complimentary hair treatment, right? And then we really, really have to deliver, but not just the treatment, because we are in a service industry. So the client will experience how, the minute they walk in, the kind of beverage I'm served, the way the stylist or the assistant talk to me, the hair wash, and the entire experience, right? So some business owners, they might argue that Yeah, doing all this like complimentary stuff is really like wasting time and resources. But then I guess what we feel to sort of like dig deeper is like, do we sort of like give the client the kind of experience that they expect? And if you really want to take it to a higher level, give them more than they actually expect, to surprise them in a good way, right?
Yes. So the key thing is in a way it's like when Steve Jobs started Apple,
Right.
When he came back to Apple and he was always over delivering.
Yes.
Right, which is why people started to trust him more. That he may promise something, but he's always over delivering.
Right.
And when that happens, your customers become your fans.
And that also kind of like become a part of your brand identity.
Exactly.
Right. Like the client can always trust that they will get more than what they want.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So people come in, they already, what is in their mind and in their hearts are aligned.
Yes.
Right? That is what you want, where they know that they are going to expect a very good service, because that is your brand identity, right? And that is where they will also would be your word of mouth, right? This is one of the strongest
the freest,
branding, marketing, whatever
everything.
you call it. That is the strongest. When someone is able to put themselves out there and vouch for you, right? That is the epitome of your brand.
Right. So one thing I noticed for hair salon is like a lot of hair salons don't actually have a website. Okay, again, this is a very debatable kind of topic. With Instagram and Facebook is good enough. I don't really need a website. So, okay, hearing from the experts, what are your advice or take on this? Is the website really that important?
Well, the thing is, your website will help you solidify your branding. Right? You look at all the successful brands, they all have a website. Think about it. It's like your name card, right?
Yes.
For decades, people have been saying that we don't need name cards anymore. I want to give something other than my name card, but it is still there. Right? People are still giving out name cards. People are still requesting for name cards. They want something physical. It's the same in the digital space.
In fact, speaking about name card, now we go a lot deeper because of all the branding.
Yes.
The heaviness of your paper,
Correct.
The quality of the paper is all tie in together again with the branding, right?
Because you want to give that quick, the moment
2 seconds impression.
Yes, the 2 second impression, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. That impression is gonna stick with that person. Especially what I would recommend is to put your face on your name card, because what's gonna happen is this person receive your name card, they start relating your face with what is on the card.
Okay.
Right, and that deepens the impression.
That's why all property agents have pictures on their name card.
That could be one of the reasons.
Right.
That may be one of their requirements as well.
Right.
But what I would think is for property agents to also create their own name cards, because if you are just having your own standard template name cards, you're just a commodity. Right.
So you're not differentiating yourself from your other peers and competitors.
Correct.
Right.
So it's to use all these subtle little differences to make yourself stand out, because let's be honest, whatever that you think you are doing that is standing out, very quickly somebody will copy it.
Okay, so now the next question. Okay, say I'm convinced, I'm going to invest the time and money in a website, because for a business that is literally the foundation, the cradle of your branding, right? Okay, how do we get started? Do I straight away go and look for some web designer and then but I don't have any idea what is mine? So from what I understand, the most basic things you need for a branding is your mission, your values, and things like that. So how do we start? Do I work on that first, or do I just, the web designer can take care of all of that?
Your web designer is purely a designer. Not many web designers will coach you through what are the things that you need. Right? So what is most important is either to have someone to help you with your brand identity, right? And that someone needs to be able to ask you and help you get your answer. and
Right.
that is what is the outcome you want from this website.
Mm.
Everything you do, especially if you run a business, is
Right.
to ask what is the outcome.
Okay.
Everything should be intentional, because if you're not doing something that leads to a business outcome, right? I'm not saying like doing charity, it's not a business outcome. It is a business outcome
Of
as well,
course.
because
They have
it's CSR,
KPIs. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Right.
So you have to link it back to a business outcome. If there is no business outcome, you're just putting a website up there where nobody visits, nobody access it, talk about it, then that website is as good as useless. I'll tell you, don't do that website.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to do a website, you have to shout about it. Because you want to have a business outcome. You want people to go into their website and see something that convinces them
Right.
that, wow, I want to know more about this.
If anything, like just leaving some kind of like online trails, right? Like you Google for like hair salon in say Orchard, and then that list of salons will come out.
Correct.
And if you don't have a website to show, then of course your brand will not make that list.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So also like in terms of the website, personally, again, for my industry, it's good that the business owners, and the team, they show the team and they show like the past achievements, blah, blah, blah. But usually, one thing I feel that is lacking is telling your audience what you can do for them. And I don't think that is only just about my industry. It is actually a very common pattern. So is the website there to give information to your audience, or is it a self-serving platform?
Okay. So for this is also an issue that I see with many websites.
Right.
In fact, I would say you may not even have to put in your mission, your values, things like that.
Okay.
Right? That is going to be very surprising for most people. But let me ask you, when you go to a company's website, how many times do you usually look at the missions, vision, the values?
I'm not the best person to answer because I'm doing very marketing related platform. So my eyes will kind of like zoom in to the whole brand identity. But yes, for most consumers, I care about price. I care about what can you deliver to me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So your mission, vision, values, I can tell you there's only one group of people who will look at all these that you have listed down. The people who are going for interviews in that company.
So the website can also serve as an internal marketing platform then?
It can, right? So that is the function of it, right? If you were to talk about consumers, what they want to see, it is not awards as well. Right, this is going to be a bit, controversial. Most people will think that I want to cut my hair with the hairdresser with the most awards. But not everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
That is just maybe a logical kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Most of us, we don't make decisions logically. We make decisions emotionally.
Emotionally, yes, I agree.
Yes. So what is lacking in most people's website, I would say, is their personal story. Why they choose to be a hairdresser. Right. I don't know, because I'm not in the industry, I don't know if any salons right now are putting out their website in such a way where they showcase their hairdressers and they tell their story, right? I mean, they can do it on their Facebook page as well, right? On their Instagram accounts as well.
Right.
They can say that, this person, what is his journey like, and this is how they can create an emotional connection with someone.
Okay, this is a very good tip. Tell your personal story.
Yes. So for example, this person, let's say it's a hairdresser, right? And in Singapore, I guess one of the things is when you become a hairdresser, it's also most of the time because it is really a passion. It's not because you got nothing else to do. I mean, there may be, but to really go into hairdressing, I feel that it's a passion.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to showcase that passion because, especially your story behind, maybe your parents wanted you to study something that is more intellectual, perhaps. But that's not to say hairdressing is not intellectual.
More paper chasing, for
It's
example.
more paper chasing. rather than using your hands to make a living, I would say, right? But you had so much passion for making people look good, right? You defied your parents' wishes, and you decided to pursue a career in hairdressing.
Right.
There could be someone like that, and I'm sure there's someone
There
out
are
there
plenty of people like that actually in our industry. Yes.
And I can tell you that some of your consumers, some of your customers are looking at this and they're like, wow, I want a passionate hairdresser like that. I don't want a hairdresser where every time I come into the salon, he or she is not listening to what I want every time get my hair cut wrong. I'm just going back there because of convenience, because it's near my house. Right? A lot of people actually do that they go to a salon which is just near their house. In fact, that was me. I did that for probably close to 15 years. I went back to the same salon again and again because the first time I had a good experience, but after a while the hairdressers keep changing. But I kept going back, and back then the price was already quite high for a student. I started when I was a student. I was paying like $15 for a haircut as a student. Right. This was probably 16 years back, 17 years back. Yeah.
Anything more than Sri Nada is considered expensive for a student in that era. Am I right to say that?
So I was paying a lot, and gradually the standard began to drop, but I still kept going back.
The standard dropped, but the price went up.
Yes, the price kept going up.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So you want to be able to connect with these people, and when you can connect with these people, they become your fans. And of course, your online brand and your offline brand has to be aligned. A lot of times people just put out a very good image online, but when they're offline, they are a totally different person. So when you're not aligned, then after the first time, they'll be like, oh, you're not the kind of person. Maybe they might not say it. It's inside their heart, and that's it. They won't come.
Sometimes they probably can't even verbalize, but the feeling is just sort of like not aligned.
Correct.
Okay.
And there has to be alignment.
Okay.
Right? As humans, we are always looking for misalignments. We are always looking for mistakes in people. Right? So when you be your genuine self, be sincere to people around you, love your consumers, love your customers, treat them with utmost respect, I think they will keep coming back to you.
Right. So I'd like to bring the conversation back to like values and stuff like that. Okay, so you did mention that values is not 100% necessary in the website. Yeah, but like again, from my own experience, your value is, like you mentioned, the consistency between the online and offline, right? And without the value as a guidance, do you think it's a little bit harder to sort of maintain that consistency? And okay, let's be honest also, the different kind of roles we play. You're a husband, you're an employer, you are an employee, you are a son. So all of this different roles that we play, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult to navigate. So if we sort of have a set of values that can apply to all of these roles across the spectrum, do you think that will help us to navigate?
Yes, I totally believe so. So what I was saying is that the values doesn't have to be showcased on the website.
Right, okay.
But it doesn't mean that...
The reason why I want to bring this up is because, I don't need a values to navigate in life.
We definitely need values. In fact, every one of us are driven by values.
And sometimes we do have it, just that we don't even know we have it, right?
Correct.
Because it's shaped by our culture, our environment, our upbringing, and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because on your website, sometimes people don't care about what values you put out on your website. Because what people want to see, how people want to see your values, is through your actions.
That is
Because
true. Actions speak louder than words. Yes.
I can tell you that I am a very family-loving person, right? But that is just me saying.
How do you prove that?
How do I prove that? Right? Do you see me spending a lot of time with my family? Do you see me treating them with respect? You don't see. On the website, it's hard to just put it in words and say that, So if you say that, teamwork is a very important value to your salon, like let's say
better deliver that.
Right? So you can have lots of, if you really want to put that, you can put lots of, let's say, team building activities. It could be having meals together at the end of every
birthday or something.
Yes.
Right.
Every week, have some activities. So that would attract other hairdressers to you. And then, wow, this is such a fun environment.
Correct. And this is also a good way to sort of like, because in my industry as well, one issues that we face a lot is not hiring good staff or the right staff. Again, this two word is very subjective.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, if the culture is not something that this employee can kind of like resonate with, then the relationship is not going to be a long-lasting and successful one, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So the importance of branding, right, is show, not tell.
Awesome. I really like that. Okay, so now let's narrow it down even smaller. So a lot of colleagues in the industry, we are also hairstylists, right? So even this whole driving the importance to a hairstylist, sometimes the common response that I get is like, what branding do I need? I'm working for someone else. The salon brand is my brand. I'm like, I beg to differ, so can you please explain?
Well, as a hairdresser, right, I'm sure you have clients who come back to you again and again. Because you already have a certain branding in their minds. So you have already done branding subconsciously. Because if you have no branding, you have no repeat customers.
And that is very, very rare, let's be honest, right?
Because a lot of times people go back to the same hairdresser. I go back to the same barber again and again. Because that is his brand and he has a certain image, has a certain standing in my mind already. So you want to occupy in as many people's mind as possible, right? That you are the outstanding hairdresser, right? This is the person that helps me bring up my confidence every time after I do my hair treatment, after I cut my hair with this hairdresser, and that is your branding. Right? Branding is not just about how you portray yourself, it's how you let others perceive you. And that is even more important because you can portray yourself, you can be in what I call a self-denial mode. Right? You think you're putting out a premium personal brand, but what you are actually doing is just driving people away. That is not a good personal brand.
So how do I like gain that kind of awareness? Like for example, like the kind of work you have been doing, you're a life coach, you help people with personal branding and stuff like that. So can you share with us a few examples, like your clients? I'm sure they're from all walks of life, and what kind of advice you get them started?
Well, always the first advice, in fact I don't call it advice, I do more coaching so it's to help them be very clear, right? Everything in their life and in my life, right, is very intentional. It's always what is the outcome. Again, right? By knowing their outcome, that is then we'll work on that path. Knowing what is the outcome, what's their current situation, what is the gap in between.
Okay, so let me play the devil's advocate. Right, okay, so now I decided, okay, I'm convinced I need a coach. Okay, and I say, I want to make this amount of money, but I don't really care about customer service. I just want to cut hair. I'm passionate hairstylist, I'm an artist. I don't care about, So how do we start from there?
Okay. So you're saying that you want to be a hairstylist, you don't care about your customers.
Customer service part.
Oh, you don't
I'll give them the best haircut based on my passion, blah, blah, blah. But I don't care about the small talk, listening to their stories with their colleagues or husband, blah, blah, blah. In that sense, I don't want. I just want to focus on cutting hair. But a lot of my friends, they always talk. And, their skills is not as good as me, but they keep getting clients coming back. So I just want to be who I am, Now the narrative we hear everywhere is like, be true to yourself, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so like if you have a client like that, how do we get started?
This is going to be very common because a lot of people, they are very uncomfortable with branding because they say, because I'm an introvert, I don't like to talk. What do you think I am? Do you think I'm an introvert or an extrovert?
I think this two word is a bit overused. Okay, so sometimes I joke with my friends like, I'm an extrovert if I like you. If I don't like you, I'm an introvert. No, okay, that's a joke. I'm sure on the dictionary both words have their very specific definition.
Yes. sometimes I totally understand what you are feeling, why you would say something like that. It's also because we pigeonhole ourselves in such personalities that we feel that if we are introvert, right, we cannot go and talk to others. It's not true, right? It's just introversion and extroversion is the way we conserve our energy, how we expand our energy. Introverts just need, after you interact with someone, they just need some time on their own.
Me time.
Recharge. Yes.
Okay.
Right? For extroverts, they gain energy by talking to people, being around people.
The life of the party, that sort of personalities, right?
So, for someone like that, we have to dig deep to find out what could be the problem that they are having. Right? What are challenges that they are facing?
Right.
In this case, they will, after some questioning, they will say that, yeah, because I'm an introvert, I don't like to talk to people. Say, okay.
Okay, just to interrupt. So you mentioned dig deeper, right? Then suddenly like, you're not therapist, but you're a coach. So how do you dig deeper? Again, like I'm trying to play the devil's advocate, but also trying to explain, give the audience a clearer picture of the kind of work you do. Because like I'm sure you get a lot. What's the difference between coaching and a therapist? Something like that. Yeah.
So a coach and a therapist, we do very different work. Therapy is really something that is more towards, I can't exactly say what a therapist does, but this is from my experience and my definition. Is a therapy, most of the time, it has to do with something that is more, I would say, on
there's really issues, something like that.
Both could be issues,
okay.
but therapist seems to be more medical related, right?
Okay.
And that they are a bit more reflecting on the past, right? How to remove that baggage. For a coach, what I do a little bit of that, but not too much of the baggage, because we want to find out how we can move you to the next level. Right? So if I were to use an example, it is like all your, like Tiger Woods, right? He has a coach,
right?
And the coach may not be better than him, may not be may not play golf better than him, but he knows how to bring out peak performance in him. Right?
Yeah.
And also, of course, to replace some of his bad habits with good habits.
Right.
That's what a coach does.
Right.
So how I usually do it is through questioning, knowing what are the right type of questions to ask. So I don't exactly dig deeper. I don't, let's go deeper. No, I usually don't do that.
Right.
What I do is through a series of questioning that is tailored to what the person is saying. Right? So the listening skills has to be fully, tuned
active
to
listening.
Yes, active listening and not have thoughts with it. So I have to make sure that you finish whatever you're saying before I can start asking the questions. I cannot have preconceived questions within my mind first.
Okay.
And the moment I have something, then I am in a way
making some assumptions
and moving the questioning towards a certain direction that I want.
Okay.
However, the journey between a coach and a coachee is not my journey.
That sounds so deep.
It is going into the coachee's journey. So there may be certain reasons for them to behave a certain way. It could be certain experiences in the past. So we may have to go back a little bit to the experiences in the past and see, is there a pattern that has happened, right? So we know how to help them to snap out of the pattern. Right? A lot of times it's just to find out what has been the experience and what is that pattern, and to snap them out of the experience. So a coach, every time, for example, for me, what I do a lot of is to catch my coachee's language, the kind of words that they use.
Choice of words.
Yes,
okay.
Because that has a huge impact on the way they think as well.
Am I right to say it's very rarely has got to do with their command of the language? It can be Mandarin, it can be English. Even if they are quite weak in a certain language, it's not about having a wide choice of vocab.
Correct.
Am I right to say
Correct.
that? Yeah.
It's you can sense it from the intent of their language. Right? So let me give you an example. So I saw one of my coaches on Monday, and this is more for someone who's looking for a job, career coaching. Right. So every time I asked him a question, he started saying what he felt was limiting him.
Okay.
It's like, oh, because they feel that I'm too old. I can't do that because I don't have this qualification.
Right.
So after a while, I spotted the language pattern and I tell him, stop. Right? I have to stop him there because the more he went on, he may feel better talking about these things because it's like a unloading session. Right? So what I did was I had to stop him and I asked him, do you notice a pattern in your language? And he said, oh, I'm not very sure. So I stated out to him, you were saying this, I'm too old, I can't do this because I don't have experience, and all the different reasons I listed down. What is common within all this? Right? Yeah, then he started realizing, oh, I've been saying things that are not very empowering. Right? So it's
negative energy, sort of.
Negative energy, yes. For me, what I don't like to in a way, how do I phrase it is, I don't like to phrase it as positive or negative.
Okay.
Because positive and negative is subjective to everyone.
That is true.
Right? What is positive to you may not be positive to me because we have different beliefs, different values.
Right.
What is most important for my coachee is thinking what is useful to them and what is not useful to them. Right? Make it very simple and practical.
Okay.
Right? Useful, not useful. The moment you start having thoughts like that, you start asking yourself, is this useful to you or is this not useful? Because people want something that's practical. They can straight away know, hey, is there ROI in simpler terms? Right? Does it move me closer to my goal when I say something like that, or does it move me further? Right? But if you're talking about positive, negative, it can get very emotional. Right? You also, some people, they are totally against all this positivity thing. I'm sure we all know people like that. All these positive things. So if you talk to them in terms of positivity and negativity, they feel like, I don't like to talk about it. I don't like all these positivity.
Too deep and too exhausting.
Very rah-rah kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I make it very simple for them. Okay, what is useful for you? Like, think useful thoughts. Like, whatever that's not useful, find a way to snap. I told him, can you go back, get a rubber band, put it on your wrist. Right? Every time you have a negative thought, pull the rubber band and snap yourself.
Just serve as a reminder.
Yes.
Right.
And when that happens,
because there's a saying like 习惯变自然. You know,
So you have to. It's not so much about replace, just stopping whatever bad habits that you're having, but replacing it with a positive habit. Yeah, something that is helpful for you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for sharing today. So, if the kind of like stuff about branding is something that you're interested in, Mike will actually be one of the speakers on the International Beauty and Wellness Forum. The details of the event will be on the show notes. Yeah, so can you share with us what kind of content will you be like? What about branding like? Because this is this beauty and wellness forum is sort of like more not just for hairdressing but for the beauty. Yeah.
Yes. So what I'm participating in is a panel. So I'll be discussing with two beautiful ladies.
Oh, lucky you.
I'm the thorn among the roses. So we're gonna discuss about personal branding. What I also would like to probably kind of break a myth. Right? That people always think that personal branding is how you dress, how you look. That is just a small part of personal branding, right? Because you can be dressed as a gentleman, as a very refined person, as a refined lady, but if you don't behave, your behavior,
the
mannerism, the way you portray yourself, the things that you do is against the values of others. That projects a negative personal brand as well.
Okay,
right?
cool.
Whatever you do, however, and how you portray is more important than how you look.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming
You're
to share with
welcome.
us today. Okay. So if anyone you have like this whole branding conversation is like of interest to you, yeah, please drop by this event. Okay. Good. Thank
Yes.
you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.